What's up, guys? It's Nick with Port City, and this is Cape Fear Coffee and Comics. Cheers. And also, cheers to you, John Hamm. Bruce. Look at that. Mitch Gerard's cover variant for Mad Fractions issue number 5. When you look at that, I just hear the Mad Men music playing. Maybe it's just me. And look at how they even have like the steam coming out of the coffee. I really need that coffee cup. And low key, I kind of need that sweater. Got the bat symbol in the sky. Different characters in it. Look, Croc. You got Joker, Man-Bat, Bane. Who's that right there, by the way? I'm not sure. But anyway, I'm going to be reading this guy today. And I'm also going to be reading this guy, Absolute Arkham. The one that people have been most hyped about this week. I say most hyped. Night Fight 3 came out. I'm just going to do a separate either video on that or maybe not do it on a video. Who knows? But we're going to be having some good coffee. Diving into these comics and giving you my thoughts. So let's get into it for a little time for some coffee and comics. Alright guys, I just finished reading Scott Snyder's Absolute Batman Arkham, and as well as Mad Fractions issue number 5 of his Batman run. Art by Jorge Jimenez in there. I think this is Dragotta. No, it's not Dragotta. We got Thierry Hickson Stevens on that team. It's a little bit different of a different change up of artists on this guy than the main Absolute run. Let's show you cover A on the inside of this issue number 5. You got Oho, or I think it's how you pronounce the name. It's like Oho. It's this lady. She's a sword, like a kind of a magic sword wielding, shape shifting into birds, villain kind of lady. And if you've read issue number 4, then you know this is the scientist that Bruce was asking to dinner at the end of that issue. But I will say this continued to be a good standalone read. There's definitely a bigger arc that's playing, but I continue to love how this team of Jorge Jimenez, Matt Fraction illustrate and write the quality, the characters themselves, how they're including Bat Family. But this issue really shows how they're doing Bruce Wayne right too. The charm, he's charismatic while kind of on a high-speed car situation, and while he's keeping this doctor safe, he's still kind of having the conversation that he wanted to have with her on this date / dinner to discuss funding her grant. And it's amazing. I loved how they show Bruce in this, and then you still get the Batman because of the action and his fighting skills and in the gadgetry. Just some of the, I wouldn't say necessarily gadgetry, but his tech and the explainers for the tech and the little bubbles. Fantastic. And I love that they did in this issue. I'm going to show you a little piece of just that Playboy charm. show you that I really loved how they did the title card. I mean, they've done a really, really great job in Matt Fraction's Batman run, as well as just the Absolute titles in general, but specifically on Absolute Batman, even though this is Absolute Batman Arkham, with title cards. I mean, that's just gorgeous. Look at that. That's the car that Bruce is driving around in. But I really, really love this issue. This might be my favorite of Matt Fraction's issues so far. Definitely read this if you've only read the first 4, or if you haven't read the first 4, read all 5, because it is a great, great read. Depending on where this goes, this could be one of my favorite modern runs of Batman. And I just hear the Madman music with this playing, or with it looking at this. Look at that. Does it not look like John Hamm? I'm telling you, I think they missed an opportunity coming off of the end of Mad Men. If they would have had John Hamm. Anyway, I digress. But yeah, and then with Absolute Batman Arkham, which was what a lot of people were hyped up for this week, and me included. Sorry I'm not including Night Fight 3 in this as well, because I just haven't read it yet. I do have it here. But I will say this is fantastic. I maybe want to give you a little taste. I'm just going to show you just kind of the opener here of kind of what's going on. So to give you an idea, there's kind of like some writing excerpts, as well as imagery, and essentially what's going on in this is there's the kind of heir to there's the owner, not heir to, but the owner who essentially started and still owns Arkham Asylum, and at this point it's kind of reached, it's had a lot of things go wrong with it. Mainly one major event that happened that caused it to really lose a lot of funding, and I guess maybe just staff, and just a lot of the facility and accolades and everything good that it did to kind of help people with problems. There was an event that happened some number of years ago, dealing with like a fire and just some escapes, but there's a lot more to it than that. But the whole time you're getting this kind of narration from the guy that owns Arkham talking to the potential buyer, and oh my gosh, you've got to read this, because when you figure out like who the buyer is, I will say early on in the issue, I assumed that it was somebody that we're already familiar with in the Absolute universe, that is fairly wealthy, that you could just, see buying Arkham. But how should I explain this? But when you figure out that there's actually like a little bit more of a backstory for a particular character, it's just really a neat way to do that. But the art in here is very interesting. I feel like it's very stylized. It's like something about the way the art's done makes it feel like, okay, we're looking at something that's meant to be aged a little bit. Not aged in like in just comics in general, but like we're seeing imagery of past things that have already happened. It's really great, and I can't wait to see what they do more with Arkham and the absolute Batman world, the overall absolute universe, because I can't wait to see these titles cross over more. But I really enjoyed that read. Coming off some really high, I had some really high expectations because the latest issues of Absolute Wonder Woman and with crossing over with Bruce and then the latest Absolute Batman, these were just such high points. I mean, they were great. They had to kill it with this, and they continue to. I mean, I hope they let Scott Snyder continue to write these absolute titles for years and years. I really hope that at least not anytime soon we see any sort of culmination of the absolute universe like we have with, or like we're currently seeing with Marvel's Ultimate Universe. But I mean, it's not, it's not an unforeseeable concept. When Marvel had its Ultimate Universe before, when we first got Miles and etc. And when that ended, we still got some of those characters as time progressed. We still kind of dipped back into that world. Even kind of got now we've got a new Ultimate Universe, but it's still dealing with some similar tropes because you got the similar bad with the Maker. So I think they've done something that is forever changing the landscape of what DC Comics can do with the whole Absolute line. And then I think what Matt Fraction has proven here is that you can actually create a story, like a well-known franchise, and people don't have to have like all of this extensive backstory knowledge to then get into your stories. So what they're doing here is amazing, and I think Marvel's doing that to a degree, some as well. A good example would be what Zdarsky's done with their Captain America, what they could be preparing to do with Stephanie Phillips' Daredevil, with I forget who's writing it, but the new Iron Man series. If it seems like they're kind of reaching a point of not rebranding, but bringing things into an era where all of that past history is still there, but where you can bring on readers that want like really quality stories that don't necessarily want to have to know everything in the world about the history of the comics to get into. I love that. Well, thank you guys for joining me this morning, and I hope you've enjoyed listening to me ramble while I have some good coffee. I hope your Thursday is amazing, that your weekend's even more amazing, and I hope you're reading some Bat titles because they have been killing it. Until next time, this is Nick with Port City Pulls, and thank you for joining us for another Cape Fear Coffee and Comics. See you guys next time.